guess starting to get into the detail of how we start to profile our squad. We've always worked on a lean squad of 20 profiles, with giving space to development players outside of that, because we know at some point in our journey we're going to need to develop our own. Certainly our first phase is about acquiring talent. We were, up until 3 years ago, a part-time team. We had to turn the club professional, and we had to rebuild the squad at a level that was able to go and compete at the top end of the leagues. And so we've tried to put our money, our investment, if you like, into these 20 profiles. These 20 profiles we believe are unique. We're able to construct any type of shape off that. And it allows for the manager to have an engaged group at all times, who will make a contribution to the team, to the season, not have people that are regularly left out. It also gives you different ways to change a game, from game to game or from the bench. When we're recruiting, we have to understand, obviously, the performance expectations of the club. So we always do a what it takes to win exercise at the start of the season, no matter which competition that we've been in. Understanding how many points are required, how many goals are required to score, how many clean sheets, etc., and looking at that group and ensuring that they can achieve what's required, including, importantly, the robustness of the group. I think the FIFA work that's done around here sort of anticipates an average availability range of above 85% as sort of industry standards. So we're looking to be above that, and certainly working with a smaller group, we need to make sure that we're towards the top end of availability. And again, that guides us in terms of the way we staff and the way we design our training weeks. Okay, next slide, please. Included in terms of the positional characteristics that we recruit to, we also recruit around life cycle, and we've got an idea of where we want to have our sort of the most density of our players. Of course, we want the majority of our players certainly in the peak phase. So in a squad of 20, we tend to have kind of 8 players, or the majority of our players in that peak phase, and they will tend to be the players on the best contracts, but we would expect the most playing time. So the profile of these types of players tends to be ones that are either known as the best in the league, or we're pulling down from higher ranked leagues. So have a level that is going to be able to sustain the type of performance that's required, and be of an age where there's limited risk to that being to varying really. An example that we brought in the summer was Fraser Horsfall, who's been a very successful player at this league as a centre half. But we find that these sort of subgroups all play off each other and feed each other. So, of course, those peak players will move on and get older, potentially in their time with us, and will need to be replaced by pre-peak players, if you like, coming into that behind them. We tend to sort of look at around 4 players in and around this space. Again, carving out our budget to make sure that we're playing these players who are on an okay guaranteed amount, but a little bit more incentivized. The type of markets that we're recruiting from tend to be certainly where we've been without an academy for a period of time. Certainly we're bringing a lot of this talent in as it stands. Players that are this age range that are in National League football or coming out of academy under 23, and sometimes these players can of course be loans, which are sort of positioned in the football pyramid, tend to be attractive for first loans from Cat 1 teams in the Championship, for example. Again, either side of this, we've got the emerging players, which tend to be, again, through the lack of academy over the last 10 years for the club, because for anyone who doesn't know the detail on that, you can't have an academy. Your funding is not, and your registrations are not secured if you're not a Football League club. So whilst the club's been in non-league, it hasn't been able to operate an academy. We've had to top this up by taking players who are coming out of either non-league, they're playing early men's football, or academy under 18s releases. There's 3 players there that we took this time last year. One of them is still with us. He's doing really well with Gateshead in the National League, Ethan Pye. One we let go actually is also doing well in the National League right now. But these players are on development contracts. We tend to give them 1 or 2 years with options, and heavily incentivized in terms of making a number of appearances in men's football on loan or any time that they're in around our first team. And then finally, the Twilight group, which we think is a really important group. Strategically, as we said, being located in the Northwest, we're going to have high access to these types of players who potentially have set their home up here and maybe returning home, and have potentially played at a very, very high level, and are looking to continue their playing time. We think with good facilities and a good profile of the club, we can be attractive for these types of players. And we've done that recently with someone like Phil Barsley, who's actually come and donated his salary to charity, but just wants to carry on playing. And there are risks around these players, clearly, because of their age. Will have historic injuries, but certainly off the pitch, they can add a huge amount to the culture, and give inspiration to other players within the squad in terms of what they can achieve.